gentlemen, broadcasting live.
Way to go, baby!
From Dallas, Texas.
No puppies. I need a dog to make a play.
Presented by Knockout Sports Bar.
It's time for football.
It's Paco's Locker Room Talk.
What a day, what a day, what a day.
What a day, what a day, what a day. Paco here, ready with my to talk some real football with a couple of my guests, former Cowboys, number 52, Dexter Coakley, and number 83, Hayward Clay, tight end. Both these guys played in the late 90s together, right?
Yeah.
Back when we were still trying to, I guess you could say, trying to find our identity also. Because,
Absolutely.
We didn't go to the Super Bowls back then, but excuse me. But yeah, I'm glad to have you guys on. I appreciate you guys making it out here. We're going to talk some current Cowboys, but not till the end, because I want y'all to feel good about it. We start talking about the current Cowboys now, everybody's going to be like gloomy and upset and stuff like that. But Dexter, we're going to start off with you.
Okay.
Was it Appalachian State?
Appalachian, yeah.
Appalachian State?
Yeah, you got it.
And where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school, was Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, Wando High School. The Warriors, what we called ourselves.
The Warrior. And did you play, did you play all positions there? Or?
Actually, true story, I really didn't start playing organized football until I was in the 8th grade.
Really?
Yeah, I was a running back. And, I was a tailback in middle school, and, I transitioned. And once I went, we had different campus for middle school and high school. Uh-huh. And when I got to the 9th grade, I made the varsity team, and I moved to defensive back. So I was a DB, I was playing defensive back, and granted, my pro career, I wasn't a big guy. So I played defensive back, I think, into my my latter part of my sophomore, going into my junior year. We had a linebacker get hurt. And then I made the transition in high school linebacker. But, I was a defensive back.
Wow. Safety or corner?
I played corner.
Corner,
yeah,
really? So you had some speed on.
Oh, I had the speed. I played corner.
Excuse me, yes.
And, it wasn't until I went to college that, I made the transition to, linebacker, just, totality. My career became just being a linebacker full time.
Full time. And where is Appalachian?
Appalachian is in Boone, North Carolina, up in the mountains. It's up in the mountains, up in, right outside of Charlotte, up, I guess you would call that the western part of the mountain. Yeah, Boone, North Carolina.
And you were raised in
Charleston, South Carolina, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is there not a rivalry between South Carolina and North Carolina?
Yeah, but really our rivalry is more in-state. South Carolina, when you're born in South Carolina, you're either going to go to Clemson or you're going to go to the Gamecocks, the USC Gamecocks.
Yeah.
And I had an opportunity to probably go to both of those schools coming out of high school, but growing up, I didn't, at the time, little country boy, I didn't know anything about the SATs.
Right.
So I never really, applied myself. I didn't take the SAT.
Right.
So once I became a good player and going into my senior year and realized that, I didn't meet the college qualification, it's like, okay, what do I do now? Am I going to go to JUCO? And then my my head coach, Dickie Dingle, and my parents and all, we thought about some options. I didn't want to go to JUCO, so I ended up going to Fork Union Military Academy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I went to military academy in Charlottesville, Virginia.
I didn't know that. How long did you go to the military academy?
It's almost like a prep year, a PG year.
Okay.
I graduated high school, and I went there for like a 13th year of high school where I could take my SAT. I couldn't improve on my GPA. I had a pretty good GPA coming out of high school, but I could improve on making the SAT and possibly go into a 4-year college and still get redshirt and have 4 to 5 years left in college.
Okay.
It's a little different from going to a JUCO. You don't lose any eligibility, but you play all collegiate teams. Like we played West Point, we played their JV teams, we played Virginia's JV team. You're a postgraduate, and when I went there, I was a fullback and a linebacker. And when I got there, my second time taking the SAT, because I applied myself, and mind you now, this is a military academy.
Right.
So you're doing everything like you're in the military.
Right.
So I'm graduating from high school, and I'm taking command from 12-year-old, because my only ranking, I got up to a corporal That's it. You got guys who are sergeant. You got guys who are colonels, and you got to get up and do taps. You got to bring the flag up. Every morning, take the flag down. You got to march with a rifle. You got to do everything the whole nine. It was a military school, but it's just not affiliated with a military academy. It's not like going to. I didn't have to go into the military and enlist once I was done.
Right.
I got my SATs, but I couldn't leave. A lot of guys left once they got their SAT and went into school, but I couldn't. App State came and ended up at App State.
Okay. And Hayward, I guess you didn't join they've got like a cadet corps or something like that at A&M, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They have a great band and a great corps program. But, I didn't know anything about that going there.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Snyder, Texas.
Oh, okay.
West
Yeah.
Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, our rivalry was Sweetwater.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it was small towns going at it.
Now, let me ask you this. I just had lunch with a friend of mine. This is a little bit off subject, but I got to ask you. He swears up and down that when he was growing up, that he would walk through 3 feet of snow and unload boxcar trailers in Sweetwater. It doesn't snow in Sweetwater, does
Man,
it?
it comes down. The Panhandle, baby, it comes down.
Really?
It snows every year in Lubbock like crazy, and then we're only like 70, 80 miles south of Lubbock, so it snows all the time.
Oh, wow.
Man, it's cold.
I didn't know that.
It's hot in the summer, and it's cold in the winter, Jack.
Wow. And so, you played at Snyder, and what position?
I played a quarterback.
Really?
I played quarterback in junior high and in ninth grade, and my coach had to make me move to tight end.
Really?
I didn't want to be on the line. I wanted to have that rock in my hand, throwing it around.
So you were a big body.
Yeah, I was big. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I graduated 6'4", 220 or something like that. But in West Texas, you the biggest thing going.
Yeah.
you know.
Wow.
So
And so A&M, was that
it's a
was
funny,
that your last choice?
It was my I went to all the schools. Did all the
Recruit, visit,
yes,
yeah.
the visits, and I got to A&M, and RC he was my last visit. He just puts on the film of all the schools I want to go to, and he shows A&M just wearing them out. He said, "You come here, you'll learn how to play like this. If you go there, you're gonna be playing against it."
Okay.
I mean, it was a great thing. I really enjoyed it. It was a great place to go.
And who was your quarterback at A&M?
Corey Pullick. He, I think he played in the Arena League a little bit.
Okay.
So it's funny. My head coach in high school was David Ball, and his dad Slinging Sammy Ball.
Oh yeah, the quarterback, the old
TCU quarterback.
Yes.
He wanted me to go to TCU.
Wow.
He trying to get me to go to TCU all week, all day, and his dad played at Tech.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to go to Tech, and I ended up going to A&M against both of them.
It's funny. We did a hoopster trip one time, and they had Sammy Ball. Of course, he was an old man by this time.
Yes.
They had him throw a pass to Michael Irvin.
Wow.
Mike caught it. You know. For that goes way back.
It's crazy. Like I'm growing up, and I'm 9th grade, 10th grade, and he's at every practice. He's at every, coach has the dinner before the game or after the game. He's at every one of those.
Really?
And I'm looking at him. I have no idea who it is.
Wow.
And I'm around greatness. The first Heisman?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm around him, and he just, old guy with a big old cowboy hat on, all wrinkled up.
Yeah,
Had
that's
no
him.
idea who it was, man, until I was getting ready to get out of there. It was just a great way to grow up.
Well, let me ask you this on a personal note. Did A&M have a salary cap back in the day? I mean, I'm just wondering because Pup and those guys.
Some might think that, but I didn't get a thing.
Oh, you didn't get a thing? Well, Pup said the same thing, but I don't believe Pup.
I must have been last on the totem pole because there wasn't any left for me.
Oh, okay. Because I know Pup came out of there smelling. Pup was upset. Quentin Coriat, remember Coriat?
Coriat, yeah.
Coriat, he came out. They were upset. He said the money just wasn't the same. I didn't know what they meant until I started thinking about it.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll save that for another time.
Yeah.
But so Dex, you get drafted by the Cowboys.
Yeah, man.
Who called you? Was it Jerry? Was it Todd? Who?
It was surreal. You know, I actually went into the draft when I went to Appalachian. You know, and I played linebacker. You know, we had a guy there, Matt Stevens, was a defensive back there at App State, and we knew he was going to get drafted. So on Matt Stevens' pro date, my strength and conditioning coach, Mike Kent, he just had us go out there and work out just to kind of give him some live, competition to work out with. So I ran the 40. I ran the 40-yard dash, and I ran like a 4.3. First time running the 40-yard dash. Wow. And I saw all these scouts who were not there for me. They were just looking at their watches like, whoa, like, what just happened there? Like, who's this guy?
Really?
We're here to see Matt Stevens.
Yeah.
And so I got on everybody's radar, not to mention, I had won the Buck Buchanan Award, which is kind of like the equivalent to the Dick Butkus award at the 1AA. Back then, it was 1AA football. I won the Buck Buchanan Award twice.
Wow.
So going into my junior year, and I was on everybody's radar. And I went into my senior year, had a pretty good year, All-American. And everybody still, with my speed and everything, they wanted me to transition to safety. And I really wasn't fond of that decision. So I went into the combine at Indianapolis. I went into the combine 60-40. 60% of the teams wanted me to stay at linebacker, and 40% of the teams were looking at me to transition and actually worked me out as a safety at the combine.
Yeah.
And when I'm sitting there at home on draft day, I had no worries in the world draft day because I was a small kid, coming from a small school, just to be in that position was great.
Right.
But I had known, just from a week prior, I was at a pre-draft party in Miami with Jimmy Johnson. And Jimmy Johnson already told me, said, go home, don't worry, I'm going to draft you. Jimmy, that year in 97, Jimmy had like 5 third-round picks.
Yeah.
I remember it was me, Jason Taylor, Sam Madison. He had another linebacker. We were all in Miami on a pre-draft week.
Right.
And Jimmy told us all, go home, I'm going to draft you, so don't worry about anything. So I knew I was going to go to Miami.
Right.
And I was just waiting, and Jimmy said, my picks are like 60+. So just wait. He had a second-round pick, or it might have been a first-round pick, and he was like, I'm probably going to use this on a DB, and that's when he drafted Sam Madison out of Louisville.
Right, yeah, I remember.
And so we were just waiting around, and all of a sudden, some things happened, and I think Darren Smith got traded to New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
And Dallas needed a weak side linebacker at the time. And I was sitting at home, I'm in a little country, little town, so it turned into a big party.
Right.
Everybody was hanging out outside. I was just in the bedroom kind of trying to relax and just kind of, decompress. And I got a call from, Jerry Jones. He was like, hey, how about them Cowboys? He said, you want to be a Dallas Cowboy? And I'm like, do I want to be a Dallas Cowboy? Are you kidding me? I got that call from Jerry, and then he passed it around to the coaches in the room, and I was talking to all of them, and Jim Bates. I'd already had a relationship with Jim Bates because, he came and worked me out at App State. First, Mike Zim came and worked me out.
Yeah. And
Zim came back and said, he can't play safety for me. He's too stiff. So you might want to go work him out at linebacker. And then Jim Bates came and worked me out at linebacker. He said, yep. He used to always say, Doggy, he can play for me, Doggy, and Jim, he got on the phone, and I said, hey, Coach, I'm ready, man. He said, you excited? I said, you wouldn't believe how excited I am right now. And when that call came through with the 64th pick going to the Dallas Cowboys, and remember back then in 97, Dallas didn't have a second-round draft pick. They had a first round. They took Dave LaFleur. They didn't have a second-round pick, but they had a third round.
Right.
So essentially, I was a second pick for the Dallas Cowboys, but I didn't get second round draft pick money.
Right.
I still went in the third.
Yeah.
I think I was the 4th pick in the third round. And right after that, true story, you go look at the draft. Right after that, Jimmy Johnson started running off with all of his picks. Jason Taylor and all those guys started getting picked, but I was a Dallas Cowboy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was in Miami on the pre-draft party with Sam Madison, Jason Taylor. Jimmy Johnson said, I'm going to draft you guys. Don't worry. Go home. Enjoy the draft. He said, relax.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. And Hayward, did you get
My story ain't that exciting.
No? Okay.
I was a 6th round pick, and I got drafted by St. Louis.
Okay.
And I
Rams.
swear, the whole time, Dallas is calling me. We're gonna get you. Just hold tight. I can't remember one of the scouts. They kept. I'm so excited because I'm from Texas. I'm like the Cowboys. I'm going. And every pick, they would pick somebody else. They would pick somebody else. They would pick somebody else. And they called me in the 6th round and said, "You're our next pick." And then St. Louis picked me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it
Who was
was
the coach at St. Louis? Vermeil?
no, it was Rich Brooks. Rich
okay.
Brooks. He had came in for a couple seasons, 2 or 3 seasons, I think. But yeah, they called me and said, "You around?" I said, "I'm coming.
Wow.
I'm on my way."
Yeah.
So
Kind of busted your party atmosphere.
at that point, it was the 6th round. I was like, "Whoever, whatever, let's go."
You just ready to play ball.
Yeah, I'm ready to play.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
but things happen, and I end up back in Dallas, and got to play here a couple years. So it was still a dream come true.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're going to be back in just a minute. We're going to go to commercial, and then we'll be back in just 1 minute. Guys, you guys ever been out? Well, I know you have, Hayward. Dex, you hadn't been out with us yet. Knockout Sports
Is
Bar.
that Drew Brees spot?
No. This is owned by some Asian guys. They got a lot of money. They've got 5 locations.
Oh, okay.
They've got one in Mesquite, one in Addison. They got one at the Colony. Haley just had a big event right behind the one at the Colony. There was probably about 40 players there. I'm surprised you guys weren't there.
Is this the spot that old boy was at when he got in his accident?
Yes,
Yeah, the box.
but downtown.
Downtown one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not.
He
Drew Brees.
hangs out at these places.
Yeah,
Yes, he
yeah,
does.
yeah.
Who was this you talking about?
The boxer. The
Spence.
local guy.
Oh,
Spence.
Errol
I
Spence.
think
Yes.
they the one might have had the video. He just left
Yes,
the
it was
spot.
off their video.
Yeah. When
Yeah.
he flipped in that car.
Yeah, they've got the best wings in town, man. I mean, you need to go check it out. They're nice places.
Need to go to.
Okay.
Need to put one in Mansfield, some Arlington.
No, they're building one in Arlington.
Oh,
Right now, they're building a $7 million venue, 4 blocks from Cowboy Stadium. It's going to be the only restaurant in the United States with a boxing ring in it at all times. And me and my brother have to put on fights every month.
Oh wow.
The only restaurant in the United States with a boxing ring in it at all times.
Wow.
Yeah, so, I mean, these are good people. These are good people. But anyways, whenever you guys get a chance, man, stop by Knockout Sports Bar. I'll tell you who hangs out at the one at the Colony. The guy from Baylor, the wide receiver, Terrence Williams.
Terrence Williams.
He hangs out there all the time.
Yeah.
And then Errol Spence hangs out at the one downtown. But anyway, so let's get back to this. So, Dex, you come to the team.
Yeah.
You came in with Randall Godfrey.
Yeah, that's my dog, man. Yeah, we Randall Godfrey, Kenny Wheaton,
K. Wheat, yes.
Kevin Mathis.
Little
You know,
fella,
Nate
yeah.
Newton used to call us the Young Bleeds.
Young Bleed.
Nate used to call us Young Bleeds. You know, Randall wasn't drafted with us, but I'm talking about my draft class with Kevin Mathis, Kenny Wheaton, myself, and man, you know, that first year we go to Austin, and you know, we had training camp, and you know, I see Dion and all these guys out there, you know, Tony Tolbert and Charles Haley. You know, Charles was going through the back issue, so he wasn't practicing.
Right.
And we didn't know if he was going to retire yet. And, you know, I get out there and DJ and Darryl Johnson. I mean, you know, Hershey Walker was there, and I'm a linebacker, so I got to go take on these guys in training camp. You know, back then, training camp wasn't quite like it is now.
Right,
We
right.
were hitting, and there wasn't no light at the end of the tunnel.
That's right.
And, you know, I would go in there and Barry Switzer, I would go in there and blow up those fullbacks and DJ, Darryl Johnson and those guys. And one afternoon after about a week or a couple days of training camp, you know, we were moving around the city of Austin. We had a day off. My phone was just ringing. And I was like, man, why are they calling me? It was the Cowboys.
Right.
Jim Bates trying to get in touch with me. And I'm like, what does he want? You know, every time the coaches call you, you know, hey, you know, and they don't leave a message. Just give me a call when you get back
Right,
in. It's bring your playbook.
Yeah.
You going home. You know, the Grim Reaper looking for you.
I heard that.
He called me. He's like, hey, Dougie, what you doing? I said, well, you know, I'm just, I'm hanging, you know, I'm just enjoying my day off. He said, here's the deal. He said, I need to see you. I said, what is it about? He said, don't worry about anything. I just need to see you. I want to tell you this. I want to tell you this in person. I'm thinking he's asking me for my playbook. I'm
Right,
cut.
right.
I'm going home. That's it.
Right.
I get back on campus. Well, we were at St. Edwards.
St. Edwards.
St. Edwards.
St.
I get
Edwards.
back on campus, and he's like, hey, I was coming down the stairs because I already made it back up to my room.
Yeah.
So I called him, said, hey, I'm back on campus. So he met me at the dorm. I was coming downstairs. And he said, hey, I want to tell you something. I said, okay. He's like, I want you to get on the phone. I want you to call your mom, call your family. I want you to call your agent. You're now working with the number ones. You're starting now with our defense for the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm like, what? I was like, well, he was like, yeah, get on the phone, call everybody you need to call. You're now working with the ones every day from here on out. Remember, they had Alan Campo was trying to take that spot.
Number 57. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember. Long hair.
I earned a job in training camp. And he's like, you can call everybody, let everybody know you're working with the ones. You're now starting with the Dallas Cowboys defense. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, okay. So now the next day of practice, or it might have even been, we had that day off. So the next day of practice, I'm in the huddle with Chad Hennings, Dion, Pup, Woodson, Casillas.
Yeah, man.
Leon Lett, and I'm like, okay, this is for real. This is for real. It's on. And from that day forward, man, I never looked back. I mean, I got the job like a week of training camp and didn't look back.
Wow.
Yeah.
I in that year, I think it was after the first game or the second game, didn't they cut Campo?
I think they let him go. I mean, he thought that was his job. Like he was the next person in line to get that job, and it didn't go to him. I mean, I felt bad, but I didn't know. I mean, I was gullible. I was just, man, just let me run down on special teams and do what I can do.
Yeah.
But they had bigger plans for me. I used to tell Leon Lett, I said, hey, him and Herb McCormick, all those guys were up front. I said, just give me a couple seconds, meaning just hold that guard or tackle off for a couple seconds and I'm gone, because they covered me up with the 3 technique. They allowed me to run and make plays.
Right.
So I wasn't in there fighting with Larry Allen and those guys. Nah, you got to come catch me.
Right.
Yeah, but Alan Campo was the guy, and he thought the job was going to go to him, and nah, man, I got the job, and I played in all the preseason games, starting at weak side linebacker, and that's how my career started.
Wow, that's great. I remember the day they cut him. I was I was walking to the locker room. Somebody was in there cussing, and he was one of the first persons I had actually seen pack his own stuff up. Because usually the Cowboys will pack your stuff up and tell you it's on the dock.
Yeah.
But Allen, he was in there getting his own stuff. And he was pissed off and he was cussing. And I was like, "What's up, Campos?" And he says, "Man, F this, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
They don't want me. I'm leaving." I was like, "Okay," but I do remember.
Yeah,
when they cut him,
man. Yeah, they let him go, and they anointed me, and I earned the position, just from outplaying them, and man, it just took off from there.
And Hayward, you were there with LaFleur. LaFleur was the number one.
Yeah,
pick.
he was the number one. I came. It's funny because when I got there in '98, you was already the man. I didn't go through all this with you. You was already the one.
Yeah.
So,
but you battled me. We battled. I mean, I could not get around your body. You battled. You would always run that little 7 route.
Yeah.
And you would kill me on that 7 route. I could not get under that route to save my life. I mean, we would battle. He'll tell you we battled.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I got here, it was I had the same feeling. I walked into the huddle. I got Troy. I got Emmett.
Yeah.
Larry Allen. Eric Williams. I'm like, good gracious.
Wow.
And talk about monsters, man. Those cats were some monsters. They were beasts.
Yes.
And it was just it took me a second. Of course, I was in, where was I? I was in Chicago, actually, in Plattsville, Wisconsin, for training camp. And when I got to Dallas, it was right after the season, right after the training camp ended. And I went from 75 degrees every day, and we were practicing Valley Ranch, and it was 105.
Yeah.
My goodness. It took about a week.
Yeah, to adjust.
Man, it was so hot. So after I snapped out of that, I was able to enjoy it fully.
So you didn't even get to go to Austin. You came with us when we went to
Wichita Falls.
Wichita Falls.
Yeah.
Hotter than hell out there, man.
Man, I tell you, I cannot believe that's the hottest place in Texas.
Yeah.
Hey, Jerry did that for a reason, man. I mean, put us in the heat like that.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, but we would battle out there. I remember, and I'm 5'9".
Yeah.
trying to, luckily, fortunately for me, I didn't have to get in the 9 technique. Randall had to always get in the 9 technique with fooling with tight ends.
Right.
But Haywood would have to come off and he would run that out route. I got up under that. But when he run that little 7 route to the sideline, man, him and LaFleur, and we had another tight end in camp.
Mike
that
Lucky.
year. Mike Lucky.
Bjornsson.
Bjornsson. Okay, yeah.
His little wiry body, you just,
Yes.
I was like, he can't beat me. Like, he can't run out of sight. And he always just twisted his body up and he made a play.
Wow.
Though we battled. I mean, Haywood will tell you, we battled in training camp. I mean,
it was a fight every day.
It was a fight every day. I mean, Larry Allen Chad Henne. It was a battle.
It was a battle every day. We had to come to work.
Every day.
So let me ask you this. I'll start with you, Dex. Most memorable fight you saw in training camp?
Oh, when Alonzo Spellman ripped off Tony Hudson's face mask. He just grabbed it with one hand and he ripped it off, and he was walking with his face mask in his hand, and T. Hut's helmet was still on his head.
Really?
I was like, are you kidding me? Like, remember when we brought Zoe into camp that year, and being linebackers, we got to sometimes tap you to get you lined up.
Yes, yeah.
Well, Zoe didn't want anybody touching him on his rear end. Like, we couldn't touch him.
Really?
And that win. I mean, we would go and Zim would be cussing us out like, why aren't y'all in the right defense? And we were like, Coach, we're telling Zoe to move down or to get into this shade, and Zoe is not doing it. So it got to a point on film, we literally would go up and the eye in the sky never lied. So we wanted them to see that we were telling him what to do. He was just going to do his own thing.
Right.
Zoe would tell us that I'm flat out, I'm not going in there. I'm going to do this. But he and Tony Hudson, it's Tony Hudson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
66.
Yeah.
Hudson,
yeah.
T. Hut.
T. Hut. They got in a fight one day in training camp. And Zoe grabbed him. Zoe was a freak of nature. He was a monster. He grabbed his face mask and he ripped it off his face. He was holding the face mask in his hand, and T. Hut still had the helmet on his head. And I was like, are you kidding me, man? What is this? And not to mention the Battle of the Titans when Larry Allen and Chad Hennings locked up one day.
That's what I remember.
But nothing happened because Larry couldn't throw him and Chad couldn't throw Larry. It was just like, man, break this up, man. Let's practice.
You know what's funny? You talking about Zoe's like, don't touch me, don't touch me. I had to block him every play.
Yeah.
I had to go. I had to block him every play, and he would look at you with fury in his eyes. Every practice. It was like, this is practice. He was like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, he had the body of a
Greek goddess.
yes.
Yep.
Yes, but he was huge.
His arms touched his knees, man.
Yes.
His hand, this guy was huge.
Yes.
And Haywood is not joking. He would have to block him, but we would have to sometimes line him up, like tell him to get in a wide 9 or a tight, and we could not touch him. It was like, I remember one time Dat actually went up behind him and touched him. Man, he turned around, he chopped Dat's hand so hard, it literally almost broke his wrist. True story.
Whoa.
We could not touch him. Remember when they got into the fight in training camp when they D-line coach had them doing like a little bull in the ring type thing?
I remember
and somebody hit him on his butt. Man, Zoe went crazy, man.
Yeah,
Him and T. Hut got in that fight in training
he
camp.
started out in Chicago, and when I was in St. Louis, I never could get away from him. We practiced against Chicago. You know how you team up and go those practices against other teams?
During training camp,
Yeah, and so, dude, I was a rookie in St. Louis, and I'm blocking this cat. And I ain't never seen anybody that big and just ripped up, just a monster. And I'm blocking him and that's my job.
Yeah.
I'm the blocking tight end. I got to block that. That's the defensive end. I got to block him.
Wow.
So go get it done.
Yeah, go get it done. Good luck.
Wow.
It was fun. I tell you that. It was a lot of work.
I tell you, one of the questions he asked me one time, he says, Paco, come here. So I went over there and he says, this is the first locker room that I've ever been to with, your offensive line with bad bodies like that. Not everybody has bad bodies like that in the NFL. This is the worst looking locker room I've ever seen. And I said, Zoe, ain't everybody cut, no one's cut up like you, man.
Yeah. Remember, he used to work on the south side. We used to call it the south side of the dumbbells. He would get in there and he would grab, I don't know if they were hundreds or 200s per dumbbell. And he would just bench press. It's like, this dude, is he for real?
Yeah.
Like, he was built different. I mean,
Yes.
he was wired a little different, but man, he would.
He's a heck of a player.
Yeah, he was a player now. And I mean, when that light was on, it was on. But sometimes he would go in that dark place where it's like, is he here today? Like,
Yeah.
like and remember, true story. Remember, nobody would say anything to him in the locker room when he would play his music. Remember, he walked in there with that jukebox, and he was sitting in front of his locker, and he would play gospel music the whole time, and nobody would dare try to change the station or say anything to him. Everybody would just go about their business like, okay.
What about during the games when he would mess up or somebody needed to tell him something? None of the coaches would say anything. They called Dion.
Yeah, nobody would say anything.
Dion, go talk to him. Dion's like, man, I'm not the coach. You go talk to him.
Remember, we were someplace. Remember when he was in the bathroom stall and didn't want to come out to the field? They sent somebody in there to go get him. Look, Zoe, come on, man. We got to go. Like, it's time to go. But true story, I remember one time he was so big and so strong. We were in Green Bay. And we always try to show, like, that warrior instinct. We try to go out there Lambeau Field with no sleeves or nothing on. And all the defensive guys like, hey, Zoe, you going out there sleeveless? And he said, let me tell you something, young fella. This ain't no tough man contest. he said, you better put some clothes on. And I'm like, okay, all right. So I put on the sleeve. And, I never played with sleeves on.
Yeah.
That was my worst game.
Wow.
Just didn't feel right. That was my worst game.
You jinxed yourself.
Well, I think we're going to be going to break. We're going to take a quick 1-minute break, and then we'll be back talk some more football.
This is Jesse A. Montoya, raised on the streets of West Dallas. Started boxing in the late 1950s, making a promise to his mother that he would move her out of the poverty-stricken area. As a kid, Jesse would be one of the first in the state of Texas to compete against other African-American kids during the lift of segregation and the beginning of the civil rights movement. 60 years have passed and Jesse continues to be a part of the sport. His passion for boxing has allowed him to serve as a trainer, a coach, a mentor, and a community leader, working with both amateur and professional fighters. Jesse has literally mentored generations of young fighters since the 1970s. He is recognized as one of the first Hispanic coaches in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, while pioneering the first inner-city amateur boxing program that has awarded him and the boxing gym that carries his namesake with numerous team trophies. Throughout the years, Jesse and his staff, that includes his sons Anthony and Michael, have trained many successful boxers, a program acknowledged by USA Boxing. This is Jesse A. Montoya of Montoya Boxing, a pillar of amateur boxing in Dallas-Fort Worth.
All right, guys, we're back, and we were talking a little bit about our boy Alonzo. He wasn't the only one there were quite a few guys on our team that at the time that you guys were there together, we probably had 3 or 4 guys on some type of medical issues. If you remember, we had Demetrius Underwood.
Nah, he was there after I was.
Was he?
Yeah.
Remember Demetrius Underwood?
I remember him. I remember
He had that
Demetrius.
huge scar where he took that Rambo knife and tried to.
No.
Yeah, he had a jagged scar all the way across his neck. Number 91.
Oh, no.
Demetrius
I
Underwood.
remember that.
He came from Michigan.
Yes.
Michigan State. Or
Yes,
something.
that's
Yeah,
him.
I know him. I know Demetrius, but
He was on meds.
yeah, he was a good player for us when he was. Man, he
We
was
had him.
big, man.
We had Haley,
Yeah,
and then we had Zoe. Those 3 guys we had on the team.
They were cold blooded.
Yeah, Haley was a little different though. Haley was awesome. Haley would just. You remember how Haley would always get on Anthony Miller?
Yeah.
Oh
receiver.
man, receiver, golly. Haley would just come around. We just chalk it out like that's just Charles being Charles.
Yeah.
Like it was never really documented until after he was done when he realized that probably Charles was just our locker room was crazy.
Yeah, I love walking
Our
in
locker
there
room
and
was crazy.
seeing Dion and Nate going at it.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't wait to get there. It was a comedy show
Yeah.
every day.
Yes.
I mean, every day our locker room, we had a blast in our locker room. It wasn't like, I mean, it wasn't like we were segregated with God. I mean, everybody,
Everyone got
I mean,
along with
Troy
everyone.
would come through there and he would say something,
Yeah.
and Michael locker, he would have to strut all the way across the locker room. He walked through the little curtains, and his locker was on the other side.
Yeah.
Dion was in the corner with us, tucked in the corner, and
Yeah.
he always had
Red
something
Rock was
going
over
on. Yeah, Red
Remember
Rock
Red
was
Rock?
over
Yeah.
there cracking, and the freckles, and
Red
we
Rock
had
started off as a
T-Hut.
linebacker.
He started out as a linebacker, then he made a nice little niche being a
Yeah, fullback.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's right. He did come
Then we
over.
had Ebenezer and those guys to the others. Man, we had a pretty cool locker room.
Yeah, we did.
We were pretty cool.
Yeah,
we were pretty tight.
You couldn't walk in there and be sensitive to.
No.
to
Yeah.
them. I mean, everybody. Man, you walk through there, you better be ready. Somebody's gonna say something to you,
Yeah.
just on general GP. They're just gonna say something to you.
It
you
was
know,
fun. It was so fun.
Yeah, it was
every
fun.
day.
Every day it was something.
Remember Wendell Davis was
Wendell
there?
was
Yeah.
there. I mean, Wendell. We had a really good locker room. I mean, we had Gosh Marlowe. We were pretty cool. We were pretty tight. I mean, but when we got on the field, like Hay would say, we practiced, man. We battled.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we battled.
I don't know that the team of today could handle the training camps that you guys had back in the day. Seriously, and even especially in the 70s. In the 70s, they left town for 30 days straight. 30 days straight. And they didn't, if you remember when we were at training camp, they used to allow our family to come one day.
Yes.
We had family day.
Yeah, we had family day.
Yeah, back in the 70s, no, you were taken away from all society. I mean, you just.
Was the training camp open? Like, we used to go, it'd be a huge crowd out there. I don't even remember if when we played, it was open.
Yeah.
It was a huge crowd out there.
Well, yeah, in the 70s it was, but we back then I didn't start working with Cowboys till '85, but in the 70s when they had training camp in Thousand Oaks, that's in California.
Yeah.
I mean, and that there's just no way. Tom Landry, he ran it different. Jimmy probably ran it as close as Tom did, Jimmy Johnson, but man,
But I mean, we had it tough. I mean, like I remember, we had, Barry was our guy. Barry was kind of like a player's coach.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then Barry lost a little luster that last year with Barry, when things wasn't going right and we had guys started doing some things that just wasn't, helping the team. And then when Chad came in, we were rolling. I thought, like, I'm going to win a Super Bowl with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Like, Troy Aikman's our quarterback.
Yeah.
And we go to Philly, and Troy goes down. Remember, we gave up all them draft picks. We got Joey Galloway. We got Rocket Ishmael. And,
Yeah.
I mean, Chan was getting ready to implement this West Coast offense. I just knew we were going to win a Super Bowl. Like, there's just no way. Joey Galloway and those guys.
Yeah.
And, I mean, back-to-back, those guys tore ACLs.
At
Troy gets hurt. Michael gets hurt. It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's that Wichita Falls turf, man.
Hey.
Dude, 17 of us. I tore mine in the second year. My second year, James McKnight.
James
Yes.
McKnight.
Ernie
oh,
Mills.
Ernie Mills.
Yep, all of us.
We had 71 lockers occupied that year. True story. Remember how we used to have some empty lockers? That year we had 71 lockers. I counted them.
Wow.
Because we had everybody was on IR or tore something. We couldn't.
I just knew we were gonna be successful, and then after Troy goes down and Michael goes down, we're in Philadelphia. Michael goes down. I think we spent the next 7 years of my career trying to find a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
And I mean, and you could attest, and hey, well, y'all could attest to this. We thought Quincy Carter was going to be our guy.
Yeah.
Well, that never really panned out. Not to mention the Drew Henson and the Chad Hutchins and the Clint Sterner and all these guys.
Right.
But Tony Romo was on the squad, but Tony Romo was going to get cut. Remember, Tony Romo was going to be a practice squad guy, and Tony Romo was going to be a casualty just from sheer numbers because Quincy was a second-round draft pick. We gave up a first-round pick to get Chad Hennings or Chad Hutchins from Houston.
Hutchins.
Tony Romo was going to get caught up in the numbers game. And we go to Oxnard, California, and I saw Quincy walking back. I was going to the cafeteria to eat breakfast or whatever, and Quincy looked kind of sad. I was like, "What's up, dog?" He was like, "Man, they just let me go." And I'm like, "What? Like, dude, you're our quarterback. Like, we're getting ready to, we about to go do our running test, or we might already just did the running test or something."
Yeah.
Quincy got cut when we were in training camp.
Wow.
So, when one guy gets cut, everybody else moves up. So Tony Romo got moved up, and Tony Romo stuck on the practice squad that year.
Wow. Quincy's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
He just he's turned his life around.
That's good.
He just got out of
That's good.
Little Center. And
Yeah.
He's doing good. I haven't talked to Randall Godfrey. You keep in touch with
Yeah,
him?
I talked to him. He comes, he married a girl from Texas. So her parents are still here. So he'll come in. Matter of fact, he might be in town now for the holidays.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Randall's always,
He married a girl from UT.
I don't know. I don't know if she went to UT.
I think
Did
I
she go to
remember.
UT?
I don't remember. I thought it was Randall Godfrey.
Yeah.
Because my wife went to UT.
Okay, yeah.
And so I think they may have known.
Yeah. He
How in the hell did your wife marry you? She's from UT and you
I brought her over from the dark side, man.
Oh, dog, man.
Dude, let me tell you something. I had to do it for her. She wanted to get out of there some kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Dog.
So yeah, it's crazy. It's a house divided, but I always say tea sippers, they're fair weather. When they're not doing good, you don't hear anything about it. You don't hear anything about it. A&M, it don't matter. We're doing bad, we're doing good. We still love them. So
Yeah.
So, but she graduated from Texas, and so both my son and my daughter. She wants to go to Texas. He wants to go to A&M. So I'm trying to battle that house divided, but I ain't never wearing orange. I don't care what anybody say. I don't care who goes to Texas. I'm not wearing orange.
Wow. Wow. I had Flo on the other day, and I tried to give him a sweatshirt, and it was navy with gold lettering. He said, "No, you can keep that."
keep that.
I said, "It's just a sweatshirt," and he's like, "No, I can't wear those colors."
Michigan blue.
Yeah, I said, "What?"
Dude.
I'm gonna tell you a real quick story, man. Funny story. When Mike was inducted in the Hall of Fame, I go and I have breakfast. I went down there for the Hall of Fame and everything. Mike Steele, and I walk in this restaurant, and I always match. I try to match. So I'm wearing like some navy Adidas, navy sweatpants, and I said, well, hell, I'm gonna wear this navy T-shirt, and it said Michigan on it, Wolverines, right? I walk in the restaurant, I sit down. I'm with this other guy. We sit down. Waitress comes by. She just keeps walking by. She's serving everybody. People coming in after us. She's serving them, and so finally I got pissed off, and I said, hey, miss, do you not see us here? She's like, oh, I see you. I said, well, what's the problem? I thought, because the guy I was with was black and I was Mexican. I said, oh, so what, is it a minority deal? You prejudice? She said, no. And she said, just like this. I just don't like that effing shirt you got on. I said, what? And I looked, and then some guy in the next booth says, son, do you know where you're at? I said, I came down from Dallas. I came down for the Hall of Fame, Michael Irvin deal. He's like, you're in Ohio State country, son.
Yeah,
you don't wear that shit out here. You understand that?
Yeah.
They were serious. And I was like, you're kidding, right? He says, if you want to get served, you better go take that shirt off. I don't know where you're staying, but you better go get you another shirt. I had to go change shirts, man.
Wow.
They wouldn't serve me.
Wow.
And I just walked into a regular, like a Denny's or something, man.
I don't know if it's that serious.
Man, I couldn't believe that.
Man.
Wow. But anyways, so my question to you, Dex, who was well, we already know who the craziest guys are. Who was the funniest guy in the locker room that you thought, in your opinion? Hayward, same question goes to you.
I mean, we kind of touched on it already, but when Dion and Red Rock will get into those crack sessions,
Oh, man.
it was hilarious. And I mean, just to see how witty those guys were. I couldn't crack because I couldn't think that fast in my head.
Right.
I couldn't process it, but Red Rock would just fire off, Dion would fire back, and it would go on and on and on for days. And Emmett would try to jump in it, but Emmett wouldn't really crafty.
No, Emmett couldn't do it.
He wasn't real crafty, but Red Rock and Dion, oh man, it was hilarious.
Yes.
It was crazy. Nate and Red
Yeah.
Rock. Oh my goodness. And Dion.
Yeah.
Nate would go against both of them.
Oh.
He had them both going
Yes.
against. It was just amazing.
Yes.
Man, I was like, how in the world is they just keep going?
Yeah, it
keep
just comes
coming?
naturally.
I can't do it, man.
I couldn't do it.
I sit over there with a muzzle
Yeah,
on.
me too. I wasn't going to get it. I wasn't going to engage because I knew I couldn't crack. I couldn't Jones is what we called it. But Nate, Red Rock, and Prime, man, they would go at it.
Man, and you remember when we get on the bus and the coaches would walk in and they say, "Is Nate on this bus?" "Yeah, okay, I'm on this bus." And then some coach, like if I got on the other bus and Nate wasn't on there, I say, "No, he's not on here." "Oh, I'm not. They'd go and get on the other bus,
They
man.
want to listen to the show. Yeah.
Nate was going to stand in front of the bus and go seat by seat
Everybody.
and just start cracking on everybody. Coach, I don't care who you were.
Yeah, I mean, but when the game time came, he flipped the switch and he was a different dude.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was one thing I noticed where they can compartmentalize. You know, we could have fun, but game time, when we white lines, we're flipping the switch.
Yeah. And, Nate's working for Dion now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Is he-
Dion moved to Canton, Texas. He's got two houses out there. He moved his mom down here or up here from Florida. He's got his son, a house down there. The oldest son, Bucky. You remember
Yeah,
Bucky?
he had his locker.
Yeah, and Bucky actually played at SMU.
Yeah, he did.
And now Dion's got a big old lake out there. You can't get to it unless you have a boat, or you got to drive all the way out to the country, come back around just to get to his house. So he lives across the water from his family. But yeah, he's got a big house he's building out there, and he hooked up with Babyface's ex.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, Dion was my neighbor until last year. He was renting a house out in. He was renting.
You were
a house.
out there?
I lived Caddy Corner. I saw him. He would jog the neighborhood every day.
Yes.
I'd stop and talk to him, and we try to go at some of the same players because my kids were going to a private school, and he was coaching over there at Trinity Christian.
Right.
And then he moved out.
Yeah.
I guess his place in Canton, was completed, but he got one kid is going to Gamecocks right now in South Carolina.
Yeah.
One of his boys playing
Shador.
Shador, yeah. So, yeah, he was there till last year, and he moved out.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I would go to Dion's house all the time. He never said you lived down the street.
I was right there. That's my house. Pretty much, you walk out the front door of where his house is at, and you look to the right across the street. That's
Yeah.
my house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, they got some nice houses.
Yeah.
You ever been out that part of town?
No, I ain't been out there. I can't afford all
Bro,
that.
they got Scarface houses out there.
What?
Seriously.
In Cedar Hill?
Bro, gated too. I mean,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice, bro. I mean, I was like, I thought maybe you moved back to the projects, that's where you're originally from. He said, "No, Paco, I live out here, I live out here with the financially minded black people."
Stop.
Boy, they got some nice houses out there. Boy.
Yeah, I would see Prime. He was out there for about 2-3 years.
Yeah.
renting that house, and
Yeah.
then waiting on his place to get built. And about last year, I saw him packing up and moving out, so I was assuming his place was completed. But yeah, man,
No, it's
Dion-
not even completed right now.
Yeah,
He's still
Dion,
building it.
He's been out there for a while, and coaching over there at Trinity Christian.
Yeah,
Yeah,
him and little
I
fella.
went to a couple of games. One of my great friends, Reggie Brown, his son, they have a private school in Houston, and they just opened a private school in Houston, and they came to play Trinity.
Yeah.
And, and it was they whooped them pretty good.
Oh yeah, Dion and them, they got some talent.
They sent them back to Houston.
They got some talent. Are we going to be able to go to? Okay. Well, we got about 2 minutes, and then we're going to have to wrap it up. Real quick, let's touch on this team that I don't know what you want to call them. Team of today. They like we were talking about earlier. They just don't. They have no identity. You never know what you're going to get from week to week. So, in saying that, what do you guys see as far as this game coming up with the Giants with the Redskins?
Well, I think backs against the wall. We got to win. We got to pull it out. But we got to be consistent. We're from week to week. We're not very consistent. And how do you go out and play LA like that and then come back and go backwards? So we got to be more consistent and got to be more focused. I love the team. I love the talent. I love the effort. I love all that. But something's missing. Something's not clicking right now, and it was a disappointing game this weekend. But I mean, I still got a little hope.
Yeah.
Well, we all know it starts at the top, but we also know that Jerry's not going to fire himself. So, you know what they say, doo-doo rolls downhill. So the next person in line is going to be Jason.
Yeah, man. Haywood would attest to this. Ownership. Yeah, you want your organization to be structured and run well, and the Cowboys is that. But the players, man, are the one out there making the plays, or not making the plays, and that team is too talented to be where they are right now. I mean, I look at that team, and I just would have loved to have had those type teams when I played. I mean, imagine being stuck going through 5 and 11 seasons back to back to back.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have half the talent this team has. They got quarterbacks, they got receivers, you name it, man. They got a plethora of players.
Yeah.
You just got to get it done. I mean, y'all are getting paid. You got the contracts. Get the job done, period. Yeah. And we sit here, and as weird as it sounds, they still got a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just go take care of this game against Washington. And, you got to hope some other things happen, but that's just pretty much the way the NFC is right now.
And then even if that does happen and they do get in the playoffs,
look out.
I mean, you never know what you're going to get.
Never know. If you get that team that played against the Rams, LA the other day,
yeah.
Everybody better look out.
Yeah.
They got the potential. They got the talent. I don't understand how it just happens where you just lose it from week to week.
I don't either.
So, they got to step up.
Yeah, definitely. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys coming on. Hope you guys had a good time.
Yeah, I did, man. It was awesome.
I really appreciate you guys doing this. And maybe we can next year we can get some sponsors. Maybe get hooked up with some type of corporation or sports bar or something like that, and that way we could make it a lot more feasible for you guys to come out instead of just devoting your time for free. But I do appreciate you guys taking time out to come do this.
Absolutely, man.
Absolutely.
And if I can ever help you out, if you guys put together an event or something, call me up. That's what I do. That's what I do. I get these fellas together.
Yeah, man.
But in saying that, guys, I appreciate it. And we're going to have to say goodbye. And this is going to be the last show of the year for this year. So I appreciate all you guys watching. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.